I had an experience, man. Y'all gonna think this is really deep. Because I can remember when I was about 6, my father and my mother got to a thing. And my cousin was dead. And what happened was, all I can remember that there was a gun that went off in the 3rd floor of the house that we were living in. And what happened was, after that, he never came back after that. He was outside the house, and my mother and my cousin was in the window, and they shot the gun off. The man never came back. It was over after that. But to make a long story short, I saw him a couple times after that. A couple years went by, I was like in my early teens. And so there was a long stretch, about 25 years I hadn't really seen him. I knew what he looked like. I knew if I would see him I would know what he looked like. I was sitting in McDonald's at Gordon Arch. And I don't know, some say, get up. So they might know Gordon Arch and McDonald's got the side entrance where you can walk out and walk onto Broad Street as opposed to walking out to Arch Street. So I walked out Broad Street, and as I was about to exit the door, a man walked by. And I looked at this man, I said, oh, that's my father. So I hadn't seen him for 25 some years, I was suited up, I was really sharp, overcoat was middle of the winter. I was looking for work at the time, I remember that very well. But to make a long story short, I cased him for about a block, walking behind him, 2 feet behind him, I was dead. And eventually I just walked up to the man and I said, how you doing? And he looked at me and he said, I said, you know who I am? He said, you look familiar. Now I'm talking to my father, and he don't even know who I am. He don't even recognize me. So, I could have been real, I could have been angry, but I didn't even go there. Because, I'm in my 40s now. And I understand that resentment ain't gonna hurt nobody but me. He did his thing and he never came back and he kept it moving. And I'm standing there having a conversation with him, he don't even know who I am. So, we talked for a minute, he gave me his phone number. And a day or two later, I called him. Right? I called the number, and the number was the wrong number. So here it is 25 years later, I'm in my 40s, and he hasn't changed. He still don't want no relationship. So I had to accept that the man does not want a relationship with me, and that he's moved on, got a wife and family, and he kept it moving.
But did you identify you as his son?
I'm sorry?
Did you identify that you was his son?
Oh yeah, I told him, man, I said to him, he said, when I said to him, I said, do you know who I am? He said, you look familiar. And I said to him, I'm your son, Andres. My name is Andres, his name is Andres. What is his name? Andres from. So he looked at me and he said, oh, no. When I said to him, I'm your son. He said, oh, because he got 3 sons by my mother. He had 3 sons by him. And I really don't think he knew which son I was. No, I'm saying, I'm going to be honest with you.
Of course he did.
Because he didn't know. He hadn't seen me in so long. He hadn't seen my younger brothers, either one of them in so long. When I'm your son, he was shocked. But he know which one it was. So, man.
And you didn't feel no anger?
I really didn't, because I had gave that up a long time ago. I knew it was. But then when I saw him and he gave me his number, I thought maybe there might be some hope that he would, because I told him, I'm in my 40s now. I could hold on to some resentment. I could be angry. I think I was a little upset when I called the phone number, and the phone was the wrong number.
But my take
that was the hurt. That was gonna hurt me.
My take on that. See, sometimes we can be angry and holding in anger and don't even know where it's coming from.
And you know what, Joe? And I hear that.
Right.
I hear anger.
So a lot of the other stuff, you might have been filled with violence.
I could be feeling one thing and speaking another thing.
No, but again, let me make my point. You might have had this stored up anger in you, and it might have came out in some other incident. You know, it might, you know, and you might have beat somebody up for something real trivial and don't even realize that anger was coming from all this stuff you just talked about. So I think, you know, we carry a lot of stuff with us and don't realize, you know, it's there.
I think he was more hurt. Again, 25 years later, destiny crosses predestination, meets his father, and nothing clicks. I mean, I still hear that little bit of line, you know, because there wasn't no liberation there. It wasn't no reconciliation. It's still the same. He still has